Moustafa, my dear guest, my dear friend, I've been looking forward to having you here for a long, long time. But you live away from Dubai, right?
First, hello Dariush and all the amazing listeners out there who are looking to develop their life. A great podcast to listen to. So thank you for hosting me.
Very welcome.
And yes, excited to be here. I know we've been trying to coordinate this, and I pretty much broke free from the system. So till now, as of the time of this recording, I don't have a permanent home. Anywhere I feel like staying, I spend a few months and then I move on to the next city or next country.
Global citizen.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
You've been spending a lot of time in
Uzbekistan.
Tell me about it. It looks so green. We used to have an office in Georgia.
Yeah.
Well, they're landlocked, right?
It's a double landlocked country. It's only two double landlocked countries in the world. And Uzbekistan, beautiful country, amazing nation. It's been pretty much closed down for the past maybe 30, 40 years. Only in the past couple of years, a new president took over. Previous president.
It was communism.
Yeah, it was communism, and it was a military research center for the Soviet Union back in the days.
Did it have nuclear weapons?
I don't know about this, to be honest with you, but what I know is it was closed down until a couple of years ago, and then a couple of years ago a new president took over and he started liberating the economy, changing the system, and the country is going through a very big boom at this moment.
Do they have natural resources?
Phenomenal natural resources. The country has a population of 33 million people. It's a farming country, has clear 4 distinct seasons, which means the farming, you get, every season get a different type of food being farmed. Lots of mountains, lots of phenomenal nature,
water,
water obviously for a double landlocked country is not as abundant as countries that have water bodies, but there's a lot of man-made lakes and dams and things like that. So it's a beautiful place to be, and I think part of being able to live a passionate life is to actually be able to choose where you want to be and what you want to do. It's breaking free from time and place, and this is what I love. I'm in Uzbekistan most of last year. I'm gonna be in India next month. I'm in Dubai now. Moving to Australia later, and that's pretty much what living passionately is about.
And your wife, where is she?
My wife is Uzbek also.
I know she's Uzbek, but is she going to stay in Uzbek or she travels with you?
She actually has as busy of a schedule as I am. So currently, as of we're speaking now, she's in, I think she's in China. So then maybe she's going to Austria, then somewhere else. So yeah, we travel a lot.
Ships in the dark, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It needs a solid marriage to cope with that, right?
I think, knowing what you value in life allows you to also manage your schedules. And reality is, even if you're in the same country, typically, if both are working, you rarely get to meet at the end of the day. And if you've got kids, you know how it is. Life takes over.
Sure. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Now, we met a good few years ago, and I was looking at working with you, and I couldn't afford you. Right? So tell me from, let's say, what brought you to Dubai, and how long ago was that?
I came to Dubai in 2000. That was right after I graduated. I remember it was 15 September 2000. I arrived in the evening. And
where did you graduate from?
From Egypt. Okay. I studied marketing in Egypt, and at those days my family lived in Saudi, and I got some job offers through my dad in Saudi, and I did not feel like that was the place for me. I kind of had a feeling that Dubai is the place to be, and my gut was right. Pretty much, I came here 2000.
It had to be a feeling, right? Because there wasn't these skyscrapers
There wasn't much.
everywhere.
No, there wasn't much happening in Dubai. I had come to Dubai maybe 5 years before that, just on a weekend. My uncle was living here, and there was even less back then. But I just had a vibe. I had a feeling. I could sense opportunity. You could feel it's one of those places that had a lot boiling. The water before it starts boiling, you just hear little bubbles coming subtle. Yes. And if you know how to spot opportunities in life, you have to have that sense. I was watching some interviews with some of the world's top surfers, and they say they sit waiting for a wave, and they could hear the wave coming from very far when nobody else can.
So they hit the wave, the right wave.
They know how to sense a wave coming, and I knew Dubai had that. I could say the same about Uzbekistan, by the way. There's a lot coming. It's still an undercurrent that hasn't developed into a big wave.
Would you do business there? Are you doing business
I am doing some work with the government there, with Ministry of Innovation, working on a few tech startups over there. I'm moving to Australia. I think Australia, also a few cities there have that opportunity. And I think anywhere that's an emerging market is where the opportunities today. Opportunities are not in mature markets. Mature markets are called mature for a reason. They've reached all that.
Europe, for instance.
Europe, I think, yes, it's a tough call for Europe to know where they're going to go. You need places with a low cost of living, not much of an infrastructure, hungry population,
smart
people that are willing to work hard. You see, you get a lot of smart people in a lot of places, but a lot of the countries that are mature, people are used to the government taking care of them. It's the countries where you have people that are hungry. People that are hungry, that governments have not in the past taken care of them, so they've learned to be survivors and they learn to work hard. So if you find the combination of these things, you got opportunity coming at you.
Wow. Do they speak many languages?
Uzbekistan, the main language is Uzbek and Russian, so those are the two main languages.
Do they speak Farsi?
They kind of, some people understand. Yeah, they get a bit of Farsi and a bit of Turkish. English is probably a fifth language in that case.
Really?
Yeah.
So are you learning?
I am picking up some words that are useful.
But you get on fine. You get on by fine.
God bless technology. And since you get something like an Uber over there, they've got a Yandex or My Taxi. So I order everything on an app. I order my food on an app. I order supermarket on an app. So my need for communicating is a lot less than I thought it would be.
I know you like the countryside. You go hiking, you're walking, you do everything.
I love nature. I love nature. So I have a target of always hiking once a week when I'm at a place that allows it. So fairly in Uzbekistan, you miss a week, but at least you end up doing at least twice a month, so once every other week. Plus I do my daily workouts whenever I can. Nature.
But you weren't always as focused about health and psychology.
No.
And so tell us, 2000 you came here.
2000 I came here.
You graduated.
Yeah, I came here. I started as a telesales operator. I was selling seats at a conference for McAfee antivirus. Wow. That was my first job, I remember. The next job after that was I worked on the launch of bait.com. So that was pretty much the first launch ever in GITEX in 2001 for bait.com. So after that, I went and got headhunted by Leo Burnett to work on the Nokia account. Nokia back then was the sponsor for all the events. There was no big events. All the concerts in Dubai was sponsored by Nokia. I ended up moving from there a few years later. My party scene got bigger. I went to Leo Burnett and offered to my company, and I offered them an idea. There was nothing called social media back then. It was 2002. I offered them an idea to launch a department called Chat Attack with an A of the at. So it's called Chat Attack, and the main thing was to help Showtime get into Saudi. They needed to promote things what they called director's cut. So that was kind of uncensored movies that would air past midnight. There wasn't really anything extreme
X-rated
in it,
but
but for Saudi it was a lot more than you would see, and there was no cinemas in Saudi at that time, and we realized that social media is the only way to help them promote that. And
there was no Facebook then, was there?
No, there was still really, everything was really, even Small World at that time was bigger. Yeah, MySpace and Small World was even bigger at that time. But there was no proper blogging, because we didn't even know what to call these things. Bottom line, Leo Burnett did not buy into it. My directors at Leo Burnett at that time, they literally said, go back to your work. I thought, you know what? I don't know, we'll think about it. I threw a birthday party at that time, which ended up attracting about 650 people at what used to be Tangerine. And I thought, listen, if I can get 650 people for my birthday party, I can do something for myself. Next morning I quit and I opened up my own event agency. So this is how I got into entrepreneurial place. That being said, I always worked my butt off to as much as if this was my company. And people used to ask me in the company, say, why are you working so hard? It's not your company. I'm like, I don't know any other way. If I work, I work with passion. It had nothing to do with who am I doing it for. I do it for me.
You're a cleaner, you'll be the best cleaner.
That's Muhammad Ali Klai said that. If I'm gonna ever, Muhammad Ali Klai, I think he said, if I mop the floor, my floor would be the cleanest. So when you do something, do it with passion.
So how long were you in the events business?
So we went from 4 people, started with 4 people in 2003. My first project ever was a circus show in Qatar, similar to Cirque du Soleil.
So you did the whole of GCC, it wasn't Dubai based?
No, actually my first job was by coincidence. I was hunting for business when I left. You needed an entrepreneur, you have to find a way to make things work. I went to Qatar, ran in the Qatar Eid Festival. I was the first non-Qatari company to enter Qatar back in the days. Did a circus show, and then after that brought some of my clients with me, so I started running all the events for Nokia and for HP. We went from 4 people to 45 people, in excess of $10 million turnover by 2008. So in a span of 4 years, we kind of, I don't know what you call that, quadrupled, multipled, whatever
Do you
it is.
enjoy the process? Because, you know, it's your baby at the beginning, then it becomes
it's beautiful. And this is, you know, back into that question about health. It was at the peak of my business in 2008. I was pretty much doing very well, the best, you know, I had a great turnover, had great team. We were literally, for those who know Dubai at that time, we were the IT agency. There weren't many agencies doing events and live communications. Plus my partners used to own the 400 nightclub, the Cavalli Club. We used to run Deep Nights and Trilogy. Anybody who was in Dubai at that time, these were the only pretty much places worth partying at. And plus a few more. And we basically, that got into me. It burned me out. I was work hard, play hard. I was working all day. You know, agency work is very stressful, and I was partying all night, 7 days a week. Eventually, I just woke up one day realizing I hate my life. It's not for me. It looks great on the outside. It's very glamorous, glitz and glamour, but it's really empty on the inside. I felt I'm not adding value. What am I doing that's worth it?
But you were relatively young, because you're still young. But
I was under 30s. I was under 30s.
For somebody to reflect it under 30 is quite deep, isn't it?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you reach a point, when you get to the top of the mountain, there's not much further to go. So for somebody my age at that time, if you think about it, turning over multi-million dollars, running a very successful business,
kind of ticked all the boxes.
You
right?
kind of tick. I mean, yes, there's no end to ambition, but I think I was, from a business point of view, I was fairly successful. And then I started asking myself, what next? And then if you think about it, I remember one of those moments. We were invited on a boat at the Formula One, and you know, the boats, they're closer to the finish line because they can't be inside the marina. So I was on a yacht, and we were pretty much third or fourth boat. So this is literally the third largest boat in the marina, and I was looking on the side, and I was looking at the bigger boat. And suddenly, like I had that moment.
How shallow is this?
And I'm like, when is it ever going to be enough? It's not. I mean, it doesn't matter who owns the boat. The reality is, you're on a boat of a friend. Eventually, whether it was my boat, me inviting, when you're hanging out with friends, you're hanging out with friends. The reality is, it was never enough. You're always looking at the bigger boat. You're always looking at the better car. You're always looking at more. And that mentality of more is destroying us as people, because we're losing our humanity for materialism. And that was kind of a big slap for me, saying, you know what? I'm not happy with what I'm doing with my life, because no matter what I'm gonna get, I'm still not feeling fulfilled. I'm missing something. And this, few years later, drove me, you know, I started a search in 2008 for deeper purpose and meaning. Crisis came. I think that also took away all of that, and then made me realize, well, it was never
that final push you needed, right?
It was the final straw, and that made me start reflecting even deeper on a lot of questions.
So the agency closed. Once you left it,
from 2008 till 2009 was up and down. We've done a lot of events. You know, we used to do all the Ramadan tents in JBR. There was the parking lot in JBR, and we did all.
I remember.
The last event I actually did before shutting down was the FIFA in 2010. The Ramadan and FIFA tent. The FIFA came around Ramadan that year, and I had President Jimmy Carter come and watch the finals with me. That was literally the last event. After that, we couldn't sustain. We had to shut down the agency. I didn't want to continue in the nightlife scene anymore. So, and this was the only thing making money at that time. I went on and did consulting with Abu Dhabi government for the Abu Dhabi Science Festival.
On the marketing side.
We did
creative.
It was the event still. We set up the festival. It was the world's largest inaugural science festival. Still not feeling fulfilled. 2012, I went and did Vipassana. Vipassana is 10 days of silence. So they lock you in a hall for 10 days. You wake up at 5 in the morning.
Not in this country, though.
It is actually, but they take you in the desert. Yeah, but they take you into the desert. It doesn't matter where you are. They put you in a hall. You don't leave.
Is this the back? Is it an Indian thing?
It's originally, this is actually the Buddhist meditation technique that Buddha used to achieve enlightenment.
Right? We'll go into a cave.
He actually sat under a tree, and they say it's about 40 days. So 10 days is actually the intro to get to the 40 days. And in those 10 days, I realized something that most of us did not, you know, until now, and until I did that meditation.
You were in solitude.
It was in silence, but you're not in solitude because it's the first time. So you basically, but you're not allowed to talk to anybody. So there's a lot of people, but you can only talk to your coaches or gurus, but you're not allowed to have conversations with them. The only thing you're allowed to ask is a technical question. So I don't know how to meditate. I'm not sure how to breathe, or if I'm sick, or where's the toilet. That's pretty much the only discussions you can have. So there's not conversation. It's only survival requirements.
Were people allowed to speak with you or no?
No, nobody's allowed to speak to anybody. Really? Not even your mentor.
Just silence. silence everywhere.
16 hours of silence a day. You sit and observe your breathing. They just teach you the technique. And 10 days of that made me realize that I actually did not know who I am. I had no clue who I was.
What made you book it in the first place?
Well, it was that.
It seems a bit extreme, from nightlife to something to...
But that's when you get so far somewhere and you don't find an answer. Sometimes you
So
have
you
to
were
look somewhere
searching.
else.
You were
I was
searching
searching.
for-
Remember, from 2008 till 2010.
Yeah.
So, and I had heard about this technique 2008, but it was extreme at that time for me. 2012, so 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. By 12, it became apparent that there's
It's
no
not that
escaping.
long ago. 7 years ago. Nothing.
7
What?
years ago.
Amazing.
So sometimes you see this conversations that we're having now, somebody somewhere might hear something and go, wow. And something will settle, and when it's the time is going to come, somebody's going to end up using this opportunity. And this is why this work is great, because you don't know. You're just sharing out of love, out of wanting to share. You don't know who it's going to help. Technology makes it accessible to everybody. And when I realized that we all live our life pointing fingers at others for our own problems. Somebody does something wrong, we say it was this person, it was mom, it was dad, it was the community, it was the economy, it was the society, it was my boyfriend, my girlfriend. But we rarely ever look at the person in the mirror. We rarely ever look and say, you know what, I need to make some changes. And that was the time for me to say, I need to get to know me. And this is when I decided to buy a one-way ticket to India. So I pretty much 2012 woke up one day, I'm like, you know what, I'm not running from this anymore, time to go to India. And I just bought a one-way ticket to India.
Do you take much cash with you?
No, I actually took more clothes than cash. I remember back. I look back in the days. I'm like, you see, I'm an Arab by birth. I'm Syrian. I lived in Dubai. So this concept of sabbatical and backpacking, these things don't exist. So when we travel, we travel. You know. So I took one of those big bags, which I barely ever opened when I landed in India. I just got there. Not much cash. I don't know. I had no clear plan. I knew that obviously when I needed some money, I can pull something out of the ATM, and India wasn't that expensive. So I had some savings that would be enough for me to live in India. Looking back at it, I don't know what I was thinking. All I knew is I was fed up and I needed an answer, and an answer inside my head. I remember clearly. I literally woke up one day, I was sleeping, and I woke up in the morning, I'm like, I'm going to India. Even my brother is like, man, you're crazy. Just keep, get back. I'm literally within a week from there, I was in India.
East Coast, West Coast, South, where'd you land?
I bought a ticket to Delhi,
Okay.
and that's all I knew. And when I landed in Delhi, I remembered, funny enough, a week before my trip, I met an Indian friend, and she said to me, if you love yoga, you have to go to Rishikesh. And that was my first clue. So when I landed in Delhi, I literally booked one night, because I arrived at night. I booked one night in a hotel around the airport, which was an experience by itself. It was a first time experience. And I got to the airport and I said, when is the first plane to Rishikesh? He goes, well, there's no plane in Rishikesh. There's no airport in Rishikesh. There's an airport in Dehradun, which is it's a hill mountain station. So from there you take a car. Next morning, and that was how the trip started. No plan. I was deciding
So
day
you
by
arrive
day.
at the door, and then this was a temple, or what is it?
I just landed there and I said, I need a hotel. I literally, one of those take me to a hotel. I got in a taxi, take me to a hotel. I went to the first place, second place. I remember he took me to one place that was pretty much kind of, you had people with clothes hanging out on the thing with a lock on the outside door. I said, that looks good enough for me.
Yeah.
And I said, I called, can somebody take my bags? And the guy looked at me and said, carry your own bag. I'm like, now I know I'm where I need to be. I need to
By
disconnect.
this time, you'd done your 10 days of silence.
Yeah, those 10 days were 2012 early on, in May 2012.
So when is this now?
This was later in it's a few months later.
Okay,
in
a few months later.
few months
Okay.
later.
So you arrived, yoga. You got introduced to yoga.
I just get traveling around Rishikesh from place to the next, but then I realized that, it was
And
too
you weren't
commercial.
working. You weren't earning.
I just,
You were
that's it.
seeking.
I made it very clear. I no longer, I need a break. It's been, I've been in Dubai, remember, since 2000. That was 2012, and it's been 12 years of work hard, play hard. I'm pretty burned out.
And you had nobody pulling you back. Parents weren't worried about you. You said you got a brother.
They were worried about me. My mom, pretty much later on, they saw my pictures with an elephant, me wearing the whole ashram clothes, and everybody started going crazy in my country, saying, typical discussion. He converted an infidel, and he's a converter.
Hang him on the way back. Yeah.
Yeah. So my parents were going crazy. Everybody was angry, but I knew I needed to pursue my calling, and I needed to do what I was feeling was right at that time. And that journey at the beginning looked like it was wrong, because what had happened is I ended up finding that a lot of what was happening in Rishikesh was very commercial, which was a bit disappointing because I was finding all of these supposed gurus and ashrams and all of these to be just money driven, which was disappointing to me. And I said to myself, you know what, you're just having a holiday, finish it off. Your mom is right, leave all of this, go back home, chill. But it seems the universe and God had a different plan for me.
So what happened? You meet somebody who was actually...
By coincidence, I'm sitting with a friend of a friend of a friend. I moved from Rishikesh to Manali, and sitting with a friend...
How long are you there now? How long is
It's been like a bit over a month now. I'm just moving between different towns.
Never missed home. You felt India was the right place. You were still seeking.
I don't know. It was one of those times when you just kind of, you just need to get lost before you find yourself. You need to give up who you are to become who you're meant to be. And it was one of those. And I was sitting with a friend of a friend of a friend, and she goes, making up a chat. One thing leads to the next, and she introduces me to a guru just because of my back to teach me some yoga. And she said, this is a real guru. This is not one of those,
You had a back problem.
I have a lot of slip discs because of skydiving, jet skiing, all the extreme sports that I do. I have a lot of back injuries.
You still do?
I still do, but now because of all the yoga, now it's fairly good.
No, but you still do...
I still do yoga.
Extreme exercise.
Until I heard something else. I just broke a rib boxing. Actually, I have a broken rib now. So then I end up meeting the guru. He teaches me yoga. I move on with my trip until I realize that this guy had been in caves for 13 years, 1-3. So I did 10 days of silence. He did 13 years of solitude and contemplation. And this is when I knew that this trip had a lot more for me than I thought it was, because it's kind of what I came for, but I didn't find it when I was looking for it. It found me.
Yeah.
And
you attracted it.
Somehow attracted me. I just followed the signs, and then eventually I went to Osho. And when I went to Osho, opposite to Osho, there's a hospital. A few months later, by coincidence...
Osho is that black monument, yes?
No, well, Osho is one of those... I don't know if I could call him a guru. He's not really a guru. I call him a modern-day pimp. He's a spiritual pimp.
But Osho died in 1981.
The ashram is still there. Ashram is still
there.
The Osho Center is still there.
You went to the Osho Center.
Yeah, and
it's called something else now, isn't it?
The Osho Center. It's called the Osho International.
Wow,
yeah, but
so
he's a spiritual pimp. Just to be clear, he's a coolest spiritual guy. He calls himself aspiritual. He pretty much talks with and against everything spiritual and not spiritual, and it's philosophical. Let's say he's more philosophical. Lots of people don't like him.
So you studied him?
I studied a lot of his work, and then...
I was planning on going there, actually. Is it worth going?
Beautiful going. You can go there with an open mind. You will be able to get a lot. It's like everything in life. There's always controversy around everything that's happening. It doesn't matter what you think or not. I say go in with an open mind, see what benefits you, take it.
Because they have a controversial past, but what I heard was they've got a bit more low-key and middle of the market now.
It's a phenomenal place for you to get a lot of personal development work. That's the simplest way I can explain it. You want to go chase the drama, there's always drama. Anybody who wants to go there to find out the crazy stuff, you can find crazy stuff. But guess what? That happens everywhere. If you go there looking, seek and you shall find. You go there looking for great personal growth opportunities, that place is a great resort with great personal growth opportunities. Not asking you to become part of a cult, not asking you to do what you don't want to do. Like any place, that location has its own rules and regulations. When you're there, you got to do this, you don't do this, you don't do that. Chip in or chip out. If you don't like it, simple, go.
Did you work there or did you?
No, I just went purely for meditation. I'm a regular. Actually, I go once a year. I love it over there. I find a lot of personal growth opportunities. It's a beautiful resort. So eventually, while I was there, opposite to that, I walk into the hospital, I get myself checked up, and I discover I had a medical condition that was labeled non-curable. And in that instance, it was a shock for me, because till then, everything was in the mental space. I'm learning about opportunities and challenges and dealing with this and healing, and I was preaching all of that, and suddenly you're like, oh my God, I have to walk the talk. I have to walk the talk now. And I had to ask myself, am I going to be able to do it naturally, or am I going to take the meds? And I refused to take the meds. I went all natural. And once I've done all of that, I healed within about a month from that condition. However, it's not about the physical healing.
Eating, meditation, the whole thing.
All due honesty, all of this is great. But if you want the truth and the deepest answer, it was all emotional work. The clean eating is great. All the herbal stuff is great, but unless you really tap into the emotional source of what's going on inside you, you'd never heal any of the diseases, because a disease linguistically comes from 2 syllables. This is. A disease is a dis-ease. And when you're at dis-ease with yourself, a disease develops. Wow. So the concept was, can I get back at ease with myself about that specific topic? And eventually I healed all of that. And that being said, my question was, what if this was a cancer? What if I haven't discovered it by that time and it would develop to a cancer and that would be the last day of my life? Did my life really matter? And it was that question.
The legacy.
That question, well, I didn't know about it at that time. And the only thing was sticking in my head. I'm like, you know what? I would have not been proud of my life. Yeah. Because I asked myself, if this was the last day of my life, did I live a life that was truly meaningful to me? Did I do things that were valuable to the world? And did I leave any legacy? And the answer was no. And it was because of that that I decided that, okay, now I know what I'm looking for. Because that guru had asked me a question. He had a phenomenal character. I used to go to him sometimes crying, crying. There's that guru from the caves. And he'd go like, good, these tears will purify you. So you see, when you're with someone like this, he's got no mercy on you but to help you find the truth. And that doesn't come easy. Yeah. So in one of the interactions with him, I'm asking him about life, purpose, all of this.
Many people went to see him? Oh.
No, he was a real guru. You see, that's the difference. Osho is phenomenal, and he appeals to a lot of the masses out there. He knows how to get the publicity game.
You say he knows? He's dead. He's been dead 30 years.
Yeah,
right?
But he knew when he did it. So he's still.
They've carried his message.
His legacy is still. Really. His content is out there. The center is still there. But this guru from the caves was one of those. There are 2 types of gurus. This is the other opposite extreme. Unknown, lives very simple life. You cannot find him, and even if you find him, he doesn't take anybody as a student. He kicks away people. He's one of those very tough characters. So imagine what I'm telling you now. You go to him and he's unempathetic, so it's not for everybody. A lot of people go to him and run away. They think he's not, he's not.
Maybe he's obnoxious, he's rude, whatever.
But actually they do that intentionally because they want seekers of truth. They want to know somebody's there for the real truth, not somebody looking for a guru. And he asked him about life and things, and he was playing with his beard. He says, do you know what you are thirsty for? Because if you do not know what you are thirsty for, you cannot quench your thirst. And it was that question that came back to me when I discovered about my medical condition and then I healed. Because the question was, if this was the last day of my life, what am I thirsty for? And I realized I was thirsty to have impact on people's lives. This is what I'm thirsty for. Mm-hmm. That being said, went on, it became 2013. I woke up one day the same way I came to India. I woke up one day and I'm like, I'm going back to Dubai. My trip is over. I just had a sign, I'm done. I go back to Dubai and I did a talk, only one talk, at a TEDx style event. It was a knowledge village, just a free event to share my story, just sharing my story. And a few months later, a random person sees me in Media One Hotel. He goes, hey, you're that speaker guy. I said, yeah. He goes, you did your talk about India. I said, yeah. He goes, you changed my life.
Oh, wow.
That was my reaction, actually. I was like, yes, that's what I'm thirsty for.
It's my calling.
You see, it's a question of what are you thirsty for? I'm like, I'm thirsty for impact. I don't know how. This is the impact. I want to be able to get more of those. You changed my life. You changed my life. You changed my life. And since then, that drove me to just leave everything and get on with everything that I'm doing now, which is the speaking, the coaching, the publishing, and helping people that are helping people. So do
you have a team of people who work for you?
My interesting answer would be yes and no. I have a team, but I have 0 full-time employees. So part of freeing myself from the system is if I have a team in a single country, in a single space with an officers,
you're stuck there.
I'm stuck, and I really want to be free. So I employ people all over the world working project-based, and I use a lot of online tools to manage them. So I have a lot of people working with me and for me, but not a single full-time employee.
So how do you juggle it all?
That requires a total different lifestyle.
I know I worked for you recently because you were actually in charge of forcing me,
yes,
organizing me to write my book, right?
And it's the same way.
And I know you're actually looking after many other authors. On top of that, you got your many other businesses. So how do you balance it all? Because I'm struggling just to write my own book.
Yes, but if you've seen when you work with me, I'm fairly structured and systemized. I'm on the dot with time. I'm on the dot with deliverables. I manage my time well. So there is a new set of skills that you need to develop. So as much as generally everybody's talking about leadership skills and all of this, and that's great when you need to be in an organization, if you want to be an entrepreneur that breaks free from the system, you need to learn a different system. And that system is about agility, mobility, mobility and mental fitness. So you need to know how to manage yourself first. I have very specific schedule and rituals every single morning that I do my best not to skip. I aim for 7 days a week. Even if I end up with 5, I'm good, but I'm fairly disciplined. If you don't have self-discipline, this lifestyle is not for you. Because typically when you get in a car, drive to work, you get into the office, you get in the mindset of work. For me, my backpack is my office. My laptop, I open where I'm in the metro, I'm sending emails. So you got to learn how to be mobile. You got to learn how to be scheduled.
But you're relaxed. You're not intense.
No.
I know you're focused. I know you're systemized. I know you're very disciplined. But is it taking away your happiness? You say you do rituals. Do you still meditate?
I meditate every morning.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
On average, about 6. If I'm lazy, 7. So between 5 and 6 on average. But when I'm lazy, 7 o'clock.
And then you
The
meditate?
first 2 to 3 hours are untouchable for me. So basically, up until about 9 o'clock, I don't do anything outside things for me internally. So I wake up. I just do some breathing meditation. So I do my prayers, then I do some breathing meditations, I do some focus meditations, then I do a visualization, or what I call a passion meditation. Actually happy to give it away to all your listeners. So we'll put it on, we'll give it to you. You can give it to everybody to upload. This is a meditation that I designed. It takes anywhere, it's a 15-minute if you do in full, or 7 minutes if you want to skip the intro once you know it. And it's a visualization technique that makes me put in my mind what I want to get. So like, let's say I'm working on getting a lot of more authors, doubling our target. So we've hit 30 authors in 1 year from launching the publishing company. That's unheard of. This is, by the way, on top of me having my speaking and my coaching and living between multiple countries. So, and juggling a lot of personal challenges.
And you haven't really promoted it, word of mouth and doing good jobs.
Networking, focus. It's quality, not quantity. So once I do all of these meditations, then I go do some sort of a workout, which could be either, when I was in Uzbekistan, I would go to the park, I would do a jog and yoga. Now I'm here, I'm in a hotel, I go up to the gym, I do, again, jogging and some weights. With a broken rib now, I'm not allowed to do any hardcore physical activities. And I said, I'm not going to stop working out. So I do cardio and any moves that don't put pressure on my ribs. Because if you let go, and as you progress, I'm 42 now. So you see, as back into the health discussion, you learn the value of your health as you go with the years and as you get older. So really, staying fit is important, and that mental fitness comes also with physical fitness. You can't be mentally fit if you're not physically fit. So all of this, I come back, do my shower, have my tea, start like just a tea to chill, get ready. All of this takes me about 2 to 3 hours every morning. But then when I'm starting at 9, I'm on fire. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't consume coffee out of need. If I ever drink a coffee, it's because I would like a cold brew, special brew coffee, just out of being a connoisseur of something. But without coffee, I start at like 9, I finish by 9 or 12 non-stop. I'm on fire, no coffee. I actually avoid coffee because it makes me jittery.
When do you have your breakfast? What's in here?
Breakfast mostly is...
Because you're in really good shape. You're not carrying excess weight.
No, I'm okay. I manage my food very well. I'm mostly plant-based. Well, I've been vegetarian since 2012. Pescatarian. And since last week, I kind of decided to go towards being fully plant-based. So I'm now cutting back on all fish. I haven't eaten any fish. I'm eating maybe some dairy, a little bit of dairy, not cheese, just Lebanese yogurt. For me, is something I love, and a little bit of eggs every now and then. But I'm going fully plant-based now as of probably end of this year. So,
amazing.
So once you do these things, you see now your body and mind are in shape. And the next thing is I tackle the whole day based on the plan from the day before. So I prepare everything I'm going to...
Organized.
I prepare everything I'm going to wear from the night before, which is not very complicated. I just, have a very simple wardrobe now that is very mobile. Lots of white shirts, a few bow ties, lots of white shirts for the formal. I wear lots of Lululemons and yoga clothes and things like that.
So you don't have to think about it.
No, even if I do, I still like a little bit of fashion. I'm not Steve Jobs or these guys wearing black t-shirts all the time. I like a little bit of, good looks for, it helps also with the stage presence, but I prepared the night before. So I don't deal with thinking in the morning. Morning I wake up, I'm on autopilot. My shoes is next to my bed, by the way. My sports shoes are with the socks inside them. So I wake up, my socks are inside the shoes. I've got no excuses. I turn my foot down, I put my socks, I get on and I get out. So all of this happens the night before. So I don't sleep till I do all of these things.
You got no excuses in the morning.
No, because it's always the contemplation is what eats up the time when you're so lazy and tired. So it's preparing all of that from the night before. So now I have everything automated. And then as I progress with the day, I have a schedule. So now I'm running on schedule. I tackle everything that I need to tackle. I have everything scheduled with my team. So I have a conference call with every single group of teams that I've got. So I've got a marketing team, I've got a publishing team, I've got a finance team. So I got one weekly call at least with each of them, scheduled either on a Friday or on a Monday. So those are already locked in my calendar. I've got calendars that are automated. You've used that before.
Yes.
So anybody needs to book an appointment with me, they just click and book. So I look at my schedule, I see what I've got. I put 3 things that I need to finish that day in the morning. So I say today, by hook or by crook, I don't care what happens, this has to be done. So anything that comes along the way, if I have to make a compromise because the day goes crazy and we're all on the reactive sometimes, then I start to saying, listen, if this is gonna kill this, I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. So then I focus on at least those 3 things that need to be done by that day, no matter what.
There's a sense of accomplishment.
A sense of progress, because sometimes you spend your day very busy.
Reacting.
At the end of the day, you're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I work so hard. That's busy for busy. That works when you're an employee because you can kind of justify being in the office. That works when you've got a team who runs around and you're in the office. You can scream at some people and they run and do work for you. But when you're running a virtual organization like I do, it doesn't work because
do you find your sales suffered because you're not around face-to-face meetings?
Actually, I'm doing phenomenal on my sales now. My sales is also systemized. So I have multiple channels for my sales. I have a LinkedIn funnel. So I have teams that are supporting me on reaching leads. And I personally work on a lot of this. I haven't reached a place. I have a team that reaches out to about 2,000 touch points, leads every single month for me on LinkedIn. But once the initial messages are out, I actually respond to every single one personally. So when a message comes back in, I'm checking my messages and I'm the one personally responding.
So it's real. It's not automated.
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
personal.
There's just one part of the push getting out. But once there's a response, I personally take care of all of those responses. And that's why it's important to be scheduled. People think, oh, I can't keep up. Well, listen, guess what? I got 24 hours a day. You got 24 hours a day. Bill Gates got 24 hours a day. And guess what? Bill Gates
spends it wisely.
Bill Gates reads 100 books a year. Yeah. If he can find time to read 100 books and then some people tell me, I don't have time. Well, I'm sorry. You have the same amount of hours as a president and as a taxi driver. Everybody's doing great in their life to their abilities. But if you really want to grow, you have to up your skills if you want to leave your situation now. And that takes a lot of agility and that's hard work. The problem is nobody wants to do the hard work. At the beginning, look, now I'm at a space where I'm able to flow with it. I'm in any taxi, I don't waste because I think there's 7 minutes to my destination. That's one email. I pop my laptop, connect tethering to my phone, draft an email, shoot an email out. That's one email out. So I can get to my evening. And by the way, I still have time to finish early, go in the evening, do my hobbies, do my sports, watch my documentaries, read my books. But what I do is instead of reading, I listen to Audible. So now when I'm in the gym, that hour in the morning is an hour of consumption of books and workout. Physical, yeah. So you see, I double up on a lot of things. If people waste time, people waste a lot of time on social media. You'd be shocked at how much people waste on social media unknowingly. They get sucked into it. And this is why actually San Francisco, the Silicon Valley guys, they have a holy Sabbath where they don't touch digital. It's a digital detox. They don't touch social media. They don't even touch mobiles. So you have to learn to manage your life. Social media is phenomenal if you know how to use it. You know why?
What about peer group? Because you seem to be self-driven, self-sustaining, focused, and country hopping.
Yes.
What about the peer group?
Beautiful question. So this is what I call, in my book, I call this the passion tribe. So the passion tribe, you need a passion tribe. And what I realized is from my party days is you cannot have a party on your own. So really, I want a passionate life. Now, in my case, I'm a bit extreme. That's, I don't know, level 5, 6, 7 is I said, well, I'm going to create a business that creates a passion tribe around me that I like. So yes, as much as we knew each other before, but we got closer because now you want to be on a similar mission. You want to write a book. So now you're part of the passion tribe. I have 30 authors already. By next year, I'm going to have 100. Guess what my peer group looks like? All of them are thought leaders. All of them are people making impact and like-minded people on a mission. So you can create your own passion tribe. And yes, you do need a passion tribe because if you're going to hang out with the same old friends, you're going to get the same old results. I'm not telling you to just kick out everybody from your life, but everybody has a space. Nostalgia is beautiful, but if you live in nostalgia, it'll stay in nostalgia. Your high school friends are not the same people because you're not the same person. You want to follow them, feel free. You want to be a leader, let people follow you. So you create your own environment, go seek people on a similar wavelength, people on a same journey. So I say in the Passion Tribe, you need people either that have similar goals and aspirations, So if you're trying to leave your job, hang out with people who are trying to leave their job for the right reason, to start a business, yeah? If you want to change the world, hang out with people that want to change the world. So people on similar goals and missions, people that have similar aspirations, people, also what you need is you need a group of professionals in your life. You see, I hang out with a lot of coaches and mentors that are better and smarter than me all the time. It's John DeMartini calls it standing on the shoulders of giants. You need to find people better than you. If you ever find yourself to be the smartest person in the room too many times,
leave the room.
You are wrong in the way you're doing your life, because it feels great for your ego. You are the smartest, but you're never going to grow. No. You need to be somewhere where you feel everybody else is smarter than me, because only then you learn. So when you create a combination of all of these things... You got to look
very deep, because I meet people who, through their insecurity, got huge egos.
Yeah.
True? Well, you got to be real with yourself. You got to look in the mirror and make that decision. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck.
Well,
stuck in that room.
That's one of the things when I started coaching with you. I asked you, you're going to make 3 commitments. You have courage, humility, and discipline. Courage to look in the mirror and face who you really are. So you really got to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm full of shit. I'm not actually who I think I am. If I really want to be as disciplined as I am lacking on my meditation. I am lacking on my work. I am lacking on XYZ. So you got to really be able to deliver on what you are saying you are going to deliver, and that takes a lot of courage. And that's courage, not courage outward by pointing it at people and saying, oh, I'm courageous. Courage is to look at the mirror and say, it's me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who are you coaching now? Are you coaching CEOs? Are you coaching? Tell me who you coach. Who are your ideal clients? I know you pick and choose your clients. You don't work with everyone.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very picky. I hope I got to a point of my life where I can do that. And an ideal client for me is what I call a passionpreneur like me. A passionpreneur is an entrepreneur of passion and purpose. People who are on a mission to change the world and have amazing time while they're doing it. That doesn't mean you compromise on either sides of your life. So it's not that I have to be very spiritual and let go of the material or just chase the material. I say in God we believe, but people take cash. So the game is, how can you save the world when you can't serve yourself? How can you serve the world when you can't pay your rent? It doesn't work.
Why do you think it's when people come to you, do they want more money? Do they want happiness? Do they want more fulfillment?
One of actually the ways I came up with the whole passionpreneur thing is I had a guy come up to me and wanting me to coach, especially at the time when I got named by Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. He named me as one of the top 100 coaches in the world. Then that drove me a lot of corporate people coming and saying, would you coach us? And I asked one person, why do you want me to coach you? He's an entrepreneur. He said, oh, I want to be rich and famous. And I cringed. I was like, that's not really what I want to be doing. Because I didn't go to India and come back just to come back to the same scene I was in. I was like, how can I differentiate? Because he's an entrepreneur. I cannot take that away from him. And I'm like, no, a passionpreneur is somebody who has true passion and purpose, because passion is purpose. So he has the true passion and purpose to serve and change the world. Along the way, you can get rich, you can get famous, you can get powerful, you can do whatever, but that's not the main driver.
So you educated him through his goals, through what he wanted.
I work with them if they have it, but I can't give it to them. You see, I can't give you purpose if you don't have purpose. We connected because you have your own purpose. You're trying to do what you're trying to do, then I can help you. But I cannot, it's not my job, and it's just too much for me, because at the level that people working with me, my ideal clientele is, 35 years plus. At that age, 35 to 45, 50 range, if you have the purpose, you have the purpose. Maybe if that person got inspired by one of my talks and works, I work with them. If I could ignite it. But that's not typically part of the work, because my new book called Live Passionately is talking about that. My online talks, my workshops, there's a lot of content out there. So typically people who come to me would have already been on a journey seeking that passion and purpose. And this is what keeps me going. Because remember, I did all of this because of a random guy who said, you changed my life. And now if I don't get an unsolicited, you changed my life once a week, I know I'm doing something wrong. This week, luckily, I got 2 already, randomly, saying, this is the next person I'm meeting after the interview. Somebody who says, you know what, thank you very much. Since I met you, I knew I had to stop listening to the wrong people and pursue my calling and passion, and things have been happening for me since then. Now, that being said, that person was determined. They were willing to bite the bullet. They were willing to work hard, and things started working for them. So it's a long-run game, not a short-run game. So
life's hard. Life's hard. Life's not easy.
Well, here's what's interesting. Do you know where the word passion comes from? Passion comes from Latin passio. Passio means to suffer and endure. Think Passion of the Christ. That's passion. People think passion.
It's fun and
everybody in this, unfortunately, in the self-development industry is trying to sell you that. When everything becomes effortless and flow and easy. You don't develop muscle by easy. You develop muscle by going and working hard.
It up.
Not to say that you have to bring hardness into your life, but it takes work. Absolutely. It takes hard work. You have to work hard.
Growth, change
I
is
have
painful.
not met a single, I've conducted 160 of those, what you're doing, 160 face-to-face with some of the world's top experts, coaches, Olympians, artists, Nobel Prize winners. Not once one of them said it was easy. Not one. And out of 160 face-to-face, and I bet you if I would continue, I wouldn't find one. Everybody's trying to sell something that says it's easy.
Work smart, not
easy.
hard.
It doesn't work, man. There is no, you know the thing about, I did an episode particularly about working smart, and here's the thing. How can you work smart until you work hard to become smart?
Exactly.
Yeah,
You got to put the hours in. You got to study.
You know it yourself, man. I mean, the first time we met, you told me your story. It didn't come easy. You had to work hard. People only look at the luxuries that you got. People look at the lifestyle, but they don't remember you when you're waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Moustafa, I didn't have a car. I was door knocking in the heat. People didn't want to work for him because they have an office. They didn't share the vision. It's a lot easier. People join you. Got a nice boardroom.
Till
right?
today, my friend, life is hard. I'm telling you. I get on sometimes. I'm on a metro. Okay. Yeah. It means because I'm traveling mobile all the time. I want to stay. I'm on a metro and I'm working. Yeah. People are on the metro, are chit-chatting on WhatsApp and chit-chatting on messages. I am working. So why? Because I'm passionate about what I do. So you see, I'm not saying work hard at something you don't like. Work hard. Work really hard when you know that you are on passion.
How do you find? Lots of people are seeking, right?
Yeah.
How do they find something
Beautiful.
they're passionate about?
Well, first thing, listen to podcasts like yours. These podcasts, follow a lot of my content. That's all I talk about is passion. So look me up on the internet. My new book, Live Passionately, is all about how to discover your passion. But if I'm gonna give everybody that's listening two questions that they can run now to start that journey of finding their passion and calling. First question is, I'd ask everybody, unless you're driving, to close your eyes, okay, take a deep breath, and imagine a checkbook in front of you, and then that check, write your name, and in the date space, write the date of today, whatever the date is. And in the number space, write $1 billion. That's 1 and 9 zeros. And then write $1 billion in letters. See that check signed. Tear it and hold it in your hand. How does that feel? You got a check in your hand, current dated today for $1 billion. That amount of money is enough to buy anything you want. You can try any projects. All your family, loved ones are taken care of. No financial worries.
Several generations.
You have power to do whatever you want in the world. Now, would you still do what you're doing? And if not, what would you be doing? Mm-hmm. That answer is the beginning to finding your passion.
It's a good question, isn't it?
I call it the $1 billion question. Yeah. That's actually part of the exercises that's in my book, Live Passionately. The second question is, now that you find that answer, my question to you is, can you guarantee living another week?
No.
Another day?
No. There's no guarantee in anything.
Till the end of this interview?
No.
Well, what are you waiting for? Go pursue your passion, because if not today, how do you know you're going to be here tomorrow to do it? People are waiting one day to get safely to the grave, sitting so they can finally get a big retirement check after living safely. Get a big retirement check, buy a house overlooking the beach, contemplating and talking about how beautiful of a life it could have been. That's not the way to live life, man. Life is a roller coaster ride with its ups and highs and downs and lows and wins and loses. And when your body's going down the grave, your soul is screaming, wow, what a ride. And when you live like this, when you live with so much passion, only then you know it was a life worth dying for. Because when you know what you're born for, you'd be willing to die for it. Everything else is irrelevant.
Do you know one thing I've noticed with you is nobody's ever come giving you a check for nothing. You always earned it, right? Not a rich background, no silver spoon, born with the silver, nothing.
No, even if it
always
is,
been the problem. You
everything
have to
got
work
taken
for
away.
it.
Even what I worked for got taken away during the crisis. I had to reset
but you
myself
earned
from
it,
scratch.
Right? You've had your ups, you had your seasons, you had your days, you had the nights, winters, summers. Yeah.
And it's a blessing in disguise, because had it not been for the crisis, I would have not discovered that calling that I've got, and I would have not become the agile I am. And I can tell you today, I'm 10 times happier than I was, because today I am the way I would like to be. I am the way living the life.
Living by your values as well.
I know I'm on values, my network. I enjoy my network. It's more thought leaders. I mean, imagine just my publishing network today is at 30 authors. I'm targeting 100 authors by next year. Imagine we have 100 handpicked group of like-minded people changing the world. Doesn't that make me feel?
I'm in the WhatsApp group, right? And it's such a nice group. I'm in many WhatsApp groups. That group is so nice. I get it.
Yeah.
You know them all. I don't know any of them.
You still will get to meet them soon.
But you know what I'm saying?
You can feel everybody's on mission. Everybody's
exactly.
on mission. So even look, and people are people. There'll always be friction. There'll always be that. Even the family. You have fights. You have arguments.
Still love each other.
But it's different to have it with someone you really believe we don't see eye to eye on what life is and why are we in life. And the more you progress with life, you realize this could be taken away from you. I do a lot of extreme sports, so separate from my medical incidents, every incident of me jumping out of a plane to do a skydive, there's an opportunity I'm not gonna make it. And if you think about it in that angle, you go, you know what, I better make this day worth living. Exactly. And I want to make sure I'm leaving enough impact in this world, and I know whatever I've done is gonna last beyond me, because none of the money, none of the cars, none of the parties, none of all of that, as beautiful as it is, gonna go down with you down the grave.
Absolutely.
You end up in a 2x1 meters. What's left is what you leave on this planet, and what you leave on this planet should be purposeful enough that people say, you know what, this person was here. Because I learned passionate people do not wait for life to happen to them, they happen to life. And living passionately is about you leaving your mark on this planet, not just pursuing the momentarily joys. Not
do you
to
fear
say
death? Because you're doing so much in this life?
I think without death, life has no meaning. I mean, actually, by you talking about life, you are talking about death, because there is no life without death. If you are born, the minute you are born, the polarity of life, you are meant to be dying. So imagine you are born with the concept of death tagged into it. East and west, sun and moon, day and night. The world is polarity, male and female. This is part of the polarity of life, the yin and yang sign. So really, death is part of life. And
have you ever thought of being a father?
Of course, I mean, I did. I just got married recently, so...
so you want to be a father, yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. Not just that, to be honest with you.
Imagine you being amazing.
I would love also to... I have a lot of affection for orphans. I sponsor a lot of orphans. And wherever I go in every single country, I go into orphanages and I try to do whatever I can to support them. And it makes you realize how blessed we are. Because when you realize how much we have, and when some of these kids, all they want is a family, a home. We had a wish tree in one of the events, and we did work with the orphanage in Uzbekistan, and we had a wish tree, and some of those, I mean, funny, the top 2 requests, one of them was headset. It was interesting. But separate from the funny one, a lot of them just put a sticker that says, I want a mom. I want a dad. It just makes me, when I call my mom and dad, I'm like, listen, I speak to them every day. I mean, what a blessing. What a blessing, how spoiled we are. We think we don't have much. So when you realize how much goodness you've got around you, you start saying, maybe today I need to do something for someone else. And this has been my kind of mission for the past maybe 3 or 4 years. When people ask me, what are you doing on your special day? My birthday is always some sort of social service work. I go to an orphanage, I go to the street, to laborers, wherever I am in the world, I go find something that I do for someone else, because I'm living such a passionate life all my days that I feel actually guilty that my birthday has to even top that up, because I don't know how to top up how I'm living my life.
It's a birthday every day for you.
It's my birthday every day, but those days I really want to feel I'm doing something special, because that day makes me feel that for one day I've done a little bit extra good to the world rather than consuming, which I'm doing a lot of the other days.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
No, thank you, and thank you for all the amazing work you're doing.
Thank you. You promised the audience a gift.
Yes, I'll promise a few gifts. One of them is I'll give them the Passion Journey meditation. So that's to get everybody kick-started. It's a 15-minute meditation. Basically, all you got to do before you do the meditation, for one time, visualize a goal in your mind. Put a date on that goal and describe when, where, how, who, what you're with. So you say, okay, it's 2020. For me, it's 2020. I am in Burj Al Arab or a better hotel with 100 of our authors celebrating, shaking hands, taking pictures. And I visualize the sounds, the smells, the feelings, the people around. And that meditation takes you through that. It guides you through that for 15 minutes. So I'll give everybody that. They can download it. And
how can they get hold of that, please?
If they would go to mustafa.com, okay, / it's passion tools or bonuses. I'm going to give you the actual URL. So when they go to the podcast.
Yeah, we'll have, at the bottom, we'll have the text.
There will be. So that they basically go into to mustafa.com / I think it's passion tools or bonuses, whichever the URL is. And then there's a box there. They should typically buy the book and put a code. I'll give you the code now. The code is actually 7 sevens. So it's 7 times, and that resembles for me 7.7 million people that I want to inspire to live passionately. That's my goal.
Right?
Yeah, that's my goal. So God bless his soul. Actually, it was brainstormed with me and Professor Tony Buzan before he passed away.
Yes.
So put that number. You're going to be able to download the Passion Journey meditation, and you're going to be able to actually also download a PDF that helps you take your passion into a business in 7 simple steps with 0 capital upfront. So that, and then you can get into Passion Group, and you can follow me on the social media, and you can reach out to you.
If somebody wants to work with you or have you as a coach, how do they contact you? Because I know literally hundreds of thousands, even millions of people are trying to contact you.
We do, and we're very selective on who I work with. So if somebody is, first thing is you check with yourself, are you truly on passion and purpose? Because that's the first thing.
Drive them,
because
right?
I'm going to check that. If you don't have that, I'm not going to be able to work with you. And if so, you can send an email to my PA. That's my passion assistant. It's pa@mustafa.com. So that's pa@mustafa, MOUSTAFA.com.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
I would love to have you back here.
I would love to.
Sometime next year. When is your next visit? How long are you staying here now?
I'm here for a few weeks and then out, probably back in next year. So
you said you're going to move to Australia,
I'm relocating to Melbourne. So Melbourne, here I come. Lots of passion coming your way.
Yeah. And when is that going to be?
It's happening end of this year. So 2020 will be a Melbourne year.
I wish you all the best of luck. But I'm going to see you early next year.
We will.
Done.
Inshallah.
But I'm going to be talking to you, and you're going to kick my ass about my book all the time.
So he's holding himself accountable that he's going to have his book next year. That's 2020, his target. He's going to hold his book in his hand, and he's going to do some nice work with all of you around his book. This guy's got a phenomenal story to tell. So that's your mission, to get your story out.
It is. I feel it. Here's the thing, some endorsements, because working with you, obviously I had to pay. Okay, the value I've already got without even launching the book has been massive. So whoever's thinking about actually writing a book or been thinking about it, they must. It's a must to work with you, because you've blown me away. And I have worked with several companies, Europeans, Indian companies, to help me to write the book, but I've never had somebody like you and your organization. So
thank you very much.
Eternally grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Live passionately. Thank you.